Well, according to a new report from Amnesty International, the Islamic State is using weapons from 25 countries to wage its campaign of terror. One case of massive arms seizures occurred in June 2014 when Iraqi soldiers fled Mosul, leaving behind a multitude of internationally manufactured arms. Many weapons in ISIS hands are traced back to the 70s and 80s during Iraq's war with Iran. Enter the 2003 U.S. invasion of Iraq, and the area was flooded with U.S. and other internationally manufactured weapons, which have ended up in the hands of future terrorists. Joining me for more on the complex topic of arms sales is Michael Maloof. Thank you very much for joining me on this. Now, what do you make of this report, first off?
Well, I think the report points out what's been known for quite some time and what's been so obvious, and it does answer the question of just how ISIS has been able to have so many arms, and as well as heavy arms, such as tanks and other heavy equipment. But the report is good because it shows that a lot of these exports came from around the world. They went into Iraq, and there was no accountability. And I think it promises to show that there is going to continue to be no accountability, and it's going to just be an arms bazaar for years to come.
Exactly. Now, the information, there's information in various government reports that the media has talked about for years, where arms were funneled to various Sunni groups in order to unite them. ISIS is Sunni. How is this not foreseen by the CIA or whoever else in the military or the government, which was funneling the arms in there?
Well, the administration wants to say publicly that they didn't know about ISIS until 2014, when in fact DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency reports were saying back as far as 2012 that ISIS was forming, that they were coalescing with other groups, that the arms, that the administration's approach with these terrorist groups was to unite the Sunnis in order to in order to go after the Syrian government. That all backfired, and consequently, these guys who got the arms just disappeared. You see it even now, where arms are being flown into Iraq today for the Peshmerga and the other Kurds, and there's no accountability. And I know for a fact that the Kurds, in many cases, are not getting the arms from the Iraqi government as they should be. You also got to keep in mind, now I would say that the administration now is planning to give direct arms to shipments, which is going to upset politically the Iraqi government. But the Iraqi government just has had no accountability on where those arms go. A lot of the Iraqi military are Sunnis. And whenever they're overwhelmed, they just disappear. These arms then get into the hands of ISIS. So it's just out of control.
Let's talk about the spread. We're seeing ISIS and Al-Qaeda, of course, bloom through northern Africa, West Africa, all over the place. What about the international weapons infiltration there? What does that look like right now? Well,
there were vast stores of weapons under Gaddafi when he was there. And a lot of these arms shipments, as well as financing, still come from the Saudis and from the Qataris. When there was a rebellion and revolution in Libya, the arms were just taken away, and they just disappeared. And this included not just Kalashnikovs, but we're talking TOW missiles, and that's probably one of the reasons for Benghazi, that we had a secret program to arm the opposition, the Syrian opposition, and going up into Idlib and all that. But when the Islamic groups took over Idlib and kicked out the FSA, they took all their arms. So they have a vast store of arms that is there, and if they take good care of them, they can use them for years to come. So to have arms that are set from the 1970s, 1980s is not surprising. As long as they take good care of them, they can use them over and over again.
Well, exactly. What's the expiration date on a Kalashnikov, after all?
Zero.
What's the way forward? The Amnesty report is saying tighter restrictions. What are we living in a utopia? What can you possibly do after they're out of your hands?
Well, there's nothing you can do as a practical matter. Who's going to tighten anything? It's money for one thing. It's a lot of arms that have gone in there, and there's no way you're going to be able to control any of this, and unless you get the Iraqi government to come clean with what they're doing. And I doubt that they're going to talk to our Government Accountability Office about where these arms have gone.
Exactly. Well, very interesting. Thank you so much for your input, former Pentagon official Michael Maloof.
Thanks for having me.